Hello all, welcome to Oracle Cloud Technical Trainings. And in this session, we'll discuss about FTP sample inbound to outbound using Oracle Integration Cloud. And it was all earlier referred as ICS, but now these days we are calling it as OIC, Oracle Integration Cloud. So when you hear about ICS or OIC, just consider they both are same. So now in this particular sample, what we want to discuss is we just want to read a file from FTP and write the same file to an other outbound directory. Nothing but like a copying a file from one location to another location. The same logic can be applied to the normal disk to disk also. So in this particular sample, what all we consider is first thing is like we have to consider an FTP connector, and the integration style. What I've done is I've considered a scheduled orchestration, and the list of actions which are considered for this particular sample are only three actions. One is data map, other one is for loop, and other one is stop. Okay, so here if you observe, this was the first one is the inbound directory and the other one is an outbound directory. So what we are trying to do is we just want to read all the files irrespective of any data format. I just want to read all the files of different, I mean not even just ASCII, binary format also. Okay, so so this is the total actual flow of the FTP integration. So here if you observe, the first one is as we have considered schedule orchestration. So this is the first thing which we have to mention, like when you want to schedule this program. And here what we are trying to do is first of all to copy the files, because we want to read multiple files, right? So to read multiple files, we just require a list of files from the FTP connection. So for the FTP connection, the operation which we have to select as list of files, and we have to mention what is a directory and what is a location. I mean, what is a directory as well as what is a file name. And then for each file which you are getting from list files, and then we require a loop. So this read each file is a loop which is reading all the files which are available from the list files. And then what we are trying to do is we want to read the file, right? So like for each file, read the file, and this each file we have to map to our read single file. So this single file will read the appropriate file which this for loop is reading, and then this read file, the one which we are reading, that has to be copied into the right file, nothing but to the destination location. So this is very simple inbound to outbound. Okay, so like once it is done, what we can do is like generally like when during development stage, right? So you don't even, I mean, you may not be aware that when you want to schedule it. We just want to validate whether your program is working or not, right? So what you can do is just you can activate it and you can just submit, and you can like track the instances. So here if you observe, like when I ran this program, so like it ran the program completed successfully, and here it shows here if you observe, the for loop shows 8, nothing but it read 8 files, and if you see the green line, right, so it went from the schedule to the stop. So it means that our process is completed successfully without an issue, and it read 8 files. Okay, so now let's go to the OIC and let's try to design the sample from the scratch, right? So what I do is like let me show you my connection first of all. So this particular sample require FTP connection. So the first of all we require an FTP connection. So for Aura trainings, I've created a FTP Aura trainings connection. So here if you observe, we have for FTP connection, the invocation type what I have mentioned is trigger and invoke, and we have to mention the host address or host name and the port number, and then you require to mention the username as well as password. So these are the 4 important things. One is host name, port number, username, and password for this particular connection. So once the connection is ready, then you can start with the integration. So go to integration. Now let's design it now. So we'll go with schedule orchestration, FTP inbound to outbound. I'll mention it as 2 because I already have a sample, and you can mention the package or you can just ignore the remaining information as of now. Create. So the first thing what we want to do is we want to read the files, right? So I prefer to have horizontal one. So I'll mention like this. So click on this FTP connection for the FTP. So we want to read all the files, right? Read files. Click on next. Now mention what kind of file you want to have it, whether you want to read a ASCII file as well as binary file. So I want to read binary file, and the operation here, this is a very important one. You have read, write, list, and many other things also. In our case, we first of all, we want to read the list of files which are available and from which location. So in my case, here if you observe my inbound directory of FTP, the slash inbound is my source directory location. So I'll just mention slash inbound. And then what is a pattern? I want to read all the files. I don't want to ignore any other file. I just want to read all the files. So nothing but star. So maximum files, these minimum age, you can just ignore all of those settings as of now. Click on next. and that's it. So there is no other setting you have to do it here. Simple. Mention the directory location as well as the file pattern. Now read file is done. The next thing is click on action, because we have all the files in our content now in the integration, but we have to read each file separately and copy that to the destination, right? So click on actions here. Now click on for each. So place here the for each. So loop each file, right? So what is a repeating element here? If you observe, so read file response, you'll have a file list and you have a file. Click on load more and click on file. This is our repeating element, and click on this, or you can drag and drop. Either way it will work, right? Now click on create. Yeah, so we have to mention the current element, right? So current read file. I'll just mention current read file. Okay, click on create. So now the loop got created. So I'll just minimize it so that, yeah. Now the next thing is, now the file is in the loop, right? And but read file, we just mentioned what are the list of files available, but it will not read the actual content. So what I have to do is I require one more FTP connection to read, to read the total content, total file with the file name which is provided by this particular loop. So again, I'll select this one, and now I'll mention read file. So what do you want to do? Read file, either a read file or files. Operation read file binary, and again I have to mention the location, I have to mention the file name. So actually what we can do is, here it's kind of redundant here we are mentioned, because this information has to come from the list file or loop, right? But we'll map it accordingly. As of now, just you can mention anything, or even here if you observe, right, this is not mandatory. Next. And do you have any structure? No, because we want to read all the files. They don't have any structure, they are opaque, I can say. Click on next and done. So now you have this mapping stuff, right? So it is going down better. I'll just get here. Now click on map file. So now we have to map this looping with the read file. Click on this edit icon. Yeah. So here we require a file name and directory, but from where are we getting? From the current read file, we are getting our directory, map it, and we have to mention the file name, because in the file name of read file we mentioned start. So which file it want to read? It doesn't know, right? So this looping, the current read file is having the exact current file name which it is reading, right? That is why we are mapping this information. Click on validate and close. Now the file is available in the ICS. It read all the content. Then next we have to write it to our destination, right? Nothing but I have to create one more FTP connection. Now I'll mention write file. So here we have to mention write operation. We have to mention binary. Output directory, I want to copy the content to my outbound directory. Here if you observe, I have inbound. Similarly, I have outbound directory. As of now, I have data. I'll just remove it. Yeah, refresh. No content in my outbound as of now. So I don't want to mention any security related stuff as of now. So file pattern, just simply mention star. Anyway, the file name should come from my source. I want the file name should be exactly as my source. I don't want to change it. Click on next. And again, opaque, select no here. Next, done. Okay, now the next thing is click on, so we have to map the read file to write file. So we have a mapping here. Click on this edit icon and map the information from the read file response to the write file request. So read file, and here we have few settings we have to do it. First of all, in the ICS, you have a file reference. Map this one, file reference. And similarly, the response header of your read file, map the file name. Okay, mention only file name. Don't map the directory, because your target directory is different. We want to write the file to outbound directory, but if you map the directory, what will happen? You are reading the data from same location and you're writing the data to the same location. Okay, don't map the directory. Validate and close. So there are a number of ways of doing it, but this is one of the logic which I'm following. So now click on this particular, first of all, save it and make sure that you set the tracking one. Yeah, I'll just select this and move it. Start, I'll just, okay. No warnings as of now, I think. Click on save, close. And for this one, as of now, we don't have any schedule. So what we can do is, first of all, simply activate it and make sure that you enable tracing, as well as the select the payload one also, include payload also. Click on activate. And then once it is done, so we are aware that, like as of now, there is no schedule mentioned for this. So, but what I want to do is I just want to validate my program, right? So simply click on submit now. So once you click on submit now, it will submit an ad hoc request. Okay, so it will take some time depending upon the instance and your network and many other things. So let me check that. So I'll just click on tracking, refresh. Yeah, can you see FTP inbound outbound 2? It just started. So refresh. It may take some time, maybe 1 or 2 minutes or few seconds, again depends. Yeah, it processed and not yet. Click on tracking, click on this hyperlink, start. So it is still in progress. The files are getting read, right? So it may take some time. Refresh, and we can still go to our outbound and check out if there is any chance of presence of a file. Not yet. So this green indicates that it progressed to this particular so far. Yep, perfect. So one file got read as of now, but still we have few more. We can monitor also. Yep. So it is happening. The read is happening properly. So here, if you observe, right, these number of files has to be available in my outbound directory. So as I have a large number of files, it is taking some time, or due to, like, or it could be because of my FTP server bandwidth also, right? If your FTP server is giving a response very slowly, obviously your integration will also hit. Right, so it's going on. So this is how we can implement a very simple inbound to outbound. The same way you can achieve it, same way you can try for, like, if at all, like, there are some developers who may not have FTP, right? So what you can do is, instead of using FTP, what you can try to do is click on install a local agent, your desktop agent, and then you can try to copy the content from your local disk to disk, nothing but one location of your local system, c like a c/inbound to c/outbound kind of thing. So that way you can still achieve a, like a file movement using your local system. It doesn't need to always have an FTP. Okay, so yeah, it is reading, so let it take some time. Okay, so this is all about FTP inbound to outbound. Thank you.